Hello, it's great to see you again here this week. I hope you've had the most amazing week. I'm Bruce Bradbury, and welcome to this new thing that I'm going to be doing. This new video series in which I'm going to be reading film-related textbooks, film production-related books, and describing and analyzing the contents back to you. I believe this will be extremely helpful because we'll be looking at texts from industry professionals. That will greatly give us knowledge on how actual film production works. For you, I hope to be giving you the inside scoop on all of these books without you necessarily having to read them. Although, I highly suggest reading all the books because there's a lot of information in there, and I'm positive that I won't be able to go over everything that all these books have to offer. So this week's book is Making Movies by Sidney Lumet. In this book, Lumet discusses hundreds of different topics all concerning the film industry and how to make a movie. But to keep this brief, I'm only going to be discussing some of the topics that I found most interesting. This book is a cross between a memoir and a more analytical description of the filmmaking business. Lumet writes on his own artistic decision-making from his career. He writes about what it takes to think about making a movie from an artistic point of view, and he describes technicalities which are involved, such as cameras, lighting, and methodologies that can all be used to achieve an artistic effect. This book is so powerful because he describes the film industry from his perspective. He made over 50 feature films in his career, and he describes how he works and how much work actually goes into making a feature film. He also describes that there's not one true way to direct or not one true way to make a film, and that he's only describing his one perspective, so he leaves it open-ended. He's just giving his opinion. Throughout this book, he constantly juggles the two concepts of film as an art and film as a commerce. We must not forget that it's both, and Lumet perfectly illustrates the tight pressure that is put on you when you're trying to make an artistic and creative and emotional film, but you have a tight economic budget. An integral part of the process in which Lumet writes about are rehearsals, and he tells us that he likes to have as much of the production team there as possible. The rehearsal lasts intensively for 2 weeks, and in this time, everyone has a chance to find their character and build relationships with one another. Later on, he describes what it is like to pull actors together, all from different backgrounds and maybe different acting techniques to make one cohesive film. He says that it's very important that everyone stay on the same page. To describe a few techniques, there are the method actors. Method, courtesy of Backstage.com. The method is an internal psychological technique that asserts an actor can train themselves, under regimented practice, to behave realistically under imaginary circumstances. Popular method actors are Daniel Day-Lewis, Jared Leto, and Jim Carrey. Method actors are often looked at as taking things way too far and literally transforming themselves into the character they're playing. And then there is Meisner, courtesy of DosatelStudios.com. Meisner is based on bringing the actor back to his emotional impulses into acting that is firmly rooted in the instinctive. Some popular Meisner actors are Jeff Bridges, Diane Keaton, and Robert Duvall. On page 71, he writes, "Just as in life, really talking and listening to one another is very, very difficult. In acting, that's the basis on which everything is built. By now, I have an almost set speech I make just before I go to the first reading on the script. I will say to the actors, go as far as you feel. Do as much or as little as you want to. If you feel it, let it fly. Don't worry whether it's the right emotion or the wrong one. We'll find out. That's what rehearsals are for." Actors need to be open to communicate, open to be vulnerable, and they need to know themselves really, really well. A lot is needed from the actors to play their parts. On pages 69 and 70, he describes a conversation that he had with Katharine Hepburn after a day's worth of shooting. He invited the entire crew to rushes. He writes, "As we were leaving, Kate called me aside. 'Sidney,' she said, 'I've gone to rushes of practically every picture I've ever made, but I won't be coming to these rushes. I can see how you work. I know Boris's work. You're both dead honest. You can't protect me. If I go to rushes, all that I'll see is this." And she reached under her chin and pinched the slightly sagging flesh. "And this." She did the same thing under her arms. "And I need all the strength and concentration to just play the part." Tears sprang to my eyes. I'd never seen an actor with such self-knowledge and self-dedication, trust, and bravery. She was breaking habits of 30 years because she knew they would interfere with the job. That's a giant. Wow, that is just amazing to me. On page 93, Sidney Lumet writes, "Good camera work is not pretty pictures. It should augment and reveal the theme as fully as the actors and directors do. The light in Winter Light is totally different than the light in Fanny and Alexander. The difference in lighting is related to the difference in the themes of the movies. That's the true beauty of movie photography." Now, I really enjoy that passage because that brings a lot back for me. When I was in film school, I remember a fellow student asking my teacher, "Can there be a film that only has beautiful shots in it?" And my teacher said, No, because that's not the point of the film. The film has to have highs and lows, and the film has to convey the story. And you can't have every single shot be naturally beautiful. The point of the film isn't to make everything look beautiful or cool. The point of the film is to convey your story and convey your characters' inner passions and dreams and goals. And preferably, I enjoy things that are a lot more uncomfortable and ugly and daring and scary, and I prefer characters that are flawed. But anyway, moving on. In the second half of the book, Lumet talks a lot about the compartmentalization of old Hollywood and how it really wasn't just the dream of the director. It was this really, really extreme hierarchy in which the director actually wouldn't have that much creative freedom. On page 148, he describes that the editing room would be completely separate from the director. He said that in old films, directors wouldn't even see their film until the final release of it. So there's a lot here, and I only discussed a few things, but if you're interested in reading more, I'll put a link to an Amazon link to buy the book. Thank you, and tell me in the comments. I want to know what kind of books you want to hear me review, or what kind of books that you want me to read, or that you think I should read. And of course, I hope that if you like this video, just give it a like and a thumbs up, and comment on it, and share it with your friends, share it on groups or Facebook pages, share it anywhere where someone might be interested in hearing a few things about an amazing book, Making Movies by Sidney Lumet. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon. Oh wait, I forgot to mention. Okay, so this whole set that I'm in, it's really nice. I got a bookshelf. I made this interview set for a client, but the client canceled, so I was like, hey, I get to use this amazing set. And also I'm using my boss's Blackmagic Ursa, which is pretty cool. Thank you for letting me use your camera. When we're sitting at Rush's watching yesterday's work, the greatest compliment we can give each other is, good work. We're all making the same movie. That's style. I'm Bruce Bradbury, and join me next week for a visual essay about time.